The one that you hear us talk about at Nomad Capitalist, taxes. Nomad Capitalist helps 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs legally reduce their taxes by moving overseas. You move yourself, you move your company, maybe you set up a trust offshore. If you do those things, you can reduce your taxes. Even as Americans have what's called citizenship-based taxation, you can still get your taxes, if not to zero in some cases. We get a lot of people down into the mid to upper single digits on their businesses. Are you going to get those tax rates in the United States? The simple answer is no. If you got those tax rates in the U.S., if somehow, yes, on the Republican Congress, if somehow they all said, hey, let's make the tax rate 9%, I think that would have longer term implications for the country, and it would only be a matter of time before things blew up. The United States spends way too much money to have a 9% tax rate. This is like basic personal finance, right? You can cut your income. You got to cut your expenses. And what I see traveling all around the world is you're not going to attract enough businesses to drop whatever they're doing and come to the United States, no matter how low the tax rate is. We're seeing more people than ever that are happy to be in their country and run their business. So all the small businesses that 20 years ago might have come to the land of opportunity US, we see more people than ever. We hear from more people directly than ever saying, hey, I'm happy here. We have tax incentives here. We have lower tax rates. I don't have to deal with the high costs and people are at each other's throats. So even if the tax rates were 9%, you wouldn't see a lot of people come back. If the tax rates were 0%, you wouldn't see me come back. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But the bottom line about taxes is this is an issue of people. Their guy got in power, and now they feel good, so now everything must be solved in their minds. The reality is Donald Trump last time lowered your personal tax rate from 39.6% all the way down to 37%. He said they were going to simplify the number of tax brackets, and if I remember correctly, there ended up being more tax brackets. So the reality is if you're someone who is a Nomad Capitalist client, your personal tax rate is still high. Yeah, a lot of people moved, especially during the pandemic, to states like Florida and Tennessee and Texas, which have no state income tax. By the way, sidebar, I thought we weren't supposed to abandon the people where we're from, right? When I moved to another country, I'm a nasty guy. But when you abandon the people that you grew up with to move to Florida to save on state tax, that's okay. I don't really get that. But anyway, even if you reduce the state tax, you're still paying 37. Does he lower that a bit? Sure. George W. Bush, all those years ago, got it down to 35. I don't know how much lower you can go. Now, are they going to lower corporate tax rates? Maybe. One thing that will be interesting with Trump is to see, does he throw something into the wheel of this global minimum tax, which doesn't affect anyone watching this in all likelihood. If you're making $750 million a year or more in revenue, that impacts you. For the rest of us, it doesn't, at least yet. Will Trump throw something in to screw with that, particularly if the U.S. lowers its corporate tax rate? Here's the reality. Most small businesses, if you own your entire business, you're not going to be structured to pay that corporate tax rate, because then, you take it a dividend or, you pay yourself somehow, you're going to pay tax again. So it's not just 15% and you're done. We help clients move to places, 15% is probably in the high end. We do have clients, they're not as concerned about taxes. They want good quality of life. They're happy to pay something. Most clients who come to us these days don't want to, don't care about, and don't end up paying zero. They just want to pay a lot less. But when we take someone somewhere, it might be 10% or 12 or 15%, but then you're done. Your